going on, everybody? We want to welcome you out to the second episode of the Wedding Swap podcast. My name is Ed Gruby from Events Done Right. We got Courtney Mason with us from Mason and Magnolia Events. We also got my man Johnny Torres from liveweddings.net. How is everybody doing 2 weeks later from our first episode?
Doing well. It's a little gloomy out there, but it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're going to have bad weather, it might as well be when we're stuck in our homes anyways. Needless to say, I think a lot of us are getting a little bit anxious to get back into the swing of things. And at least speaking for myself, I know I've been trying to make preparations to really kind of just put the pedal to the metal, as they say, as soon as we get the all clear to, reopen things.
Yeah, and we have to apologize because I know we had promoted that we were going to do the podcast yesterday, which would have been Friday the 24th. The weather was absolutely horrendous. Like, our feeds kept cutting out. We were practicing and going through it, and we're just like, you know what? Let's wait till it's all clear outside. It was so bad outside yesterday.
Well, and I live in an old bungalow, and it has a literal tin roof. And so, I mean, it just sounds like it's just amplified by 20.
Yep, I'm with you, Johnny. I got the tin roof on my old house, too.
See, there we go. So Mother Nature did not want to cooperate yesterday. But, before we get into any topics, we had a couple of really good ones we're going to talk with you guys today. The first thing I know we would like to personally say is thank you so much for all the love over the past couple of weeks. We have gotten lots of loves. We've gotten lots of likes to our page. We got a whole bunch of views, more views than I think we were expecting for our first episode. And, obviously it was the first one, so we were working out some kinks there too. And moving forward, I think this just become bigger and bigger, and it's going to be a better outlet for vendors to jump on with us and kind of, like I said, from the last episode, is kind of promote what they're doing, especially venues, right, Courtney? We're looking for venues right now.
Yes. Any venue, contact us, send us an email, the Wedding Swap podcast at hotmail.com. Send us your information. We'd love to come out, shoot live eventually whenever we're all allowed to again. So we want to hear from you.
Courtney, can you just give it all that one more time, because you did freeze and break up just for a second while you were doing it?
Email us at the Wedding Swap podcast at hotmail.com, or send a message to our business page on Facebook. We want to hear from venues. We'd love to come out. We'd love to see you. We'd love to interview you and just show off your beautiful venues.
Yeah, and Johnny, I think once the plan is with this is once the quarantine is actually lifted and we can leave our houses again, which, listen, we're all doing the right thing, and I know we're doing it for the right reasons, and it's to stay healthy. But, I mean, there's a little part inside of everybody that just wants everything to just go back to normal. We can't wait. Yeah. So, Johnny, I think the plan moving forward, too, is every time we do a show, we're planning on a kind of highlighting and showcasing a new venue around the Bay, correct?
Yeah, not only a new venue, but I also, I'm excited to bring to everybody like new vendors, new services, actually in kind of preparation and just brainstorming for this show. I came across a live painting, which is new to me. I'm not sure, Courtney maybe, or even you, Ed, might be able to tell me if it's a new thing, but this live painting where they will actually paint a scene of your wedding while your wedding is taking place just blows my mind. And there's an incredibly talented young lady I came across. I'm sure there are others, but I want to feature people like that. Florists, other people who are doing really interesting, caterers, obviously, who are doing really interesting things in the industry.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, Courtney. What do you think if we go out there, we do a different venue moving forward, and then once we can get out there, we'll do an actual venue, and then bring along a vendor with us as like a guest every week, every time we do a podcast. I think that would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Photographers, makeup artists, anything out there, DJs. So they all got something to add, and they're all great in our community.
And that way you can get the vendors off Courtney's back. In case you don't know, Courtney runs Sample Wedding Swap. And we mess with her all the time because poor Courtney, she, don't get me wrong, she has done a wonderful thing with that group. I mean, it has helped so many brides. In case you missed our first episode, you'll have to go back and check it out again. But our first episode, Courtney explained everything. She was a bride herself. That's how she got the group started. And now she's gone on to help literally thousands of brides, help make decisions on all different stuff, whether it be a DJ company or like we were saying before, or just anything you could possibly think of. So Courtney, kudos to you. And Also, I have to personally say thank you so much. This is my own little
Mhm.
testimonial to Johnny. So Johnny, in case you are unaware, so Johnny runs liveweddings.net. What they do is they go out, they'll film and broadcast your ceremony live, or cocktail hour, whatever you would like, live to, your guests or family, friends that can't make it out there. Johnny Johnny does a lot of things, by the way. Johnny also is one of our DJs for Events Done Right. So every now and then he'll be out there knocking down weddings. He's been doing weddings for a long time. And we're happy to have him. He's amazing at what he does. But he also has a company called Falkenberg Productions as well too. See, Courtney, he's he's like the Pied
Many
Piper
hats.
of it, guy. And before we even go into any topics, I would just like to talk something, because personally, a lot of brides have been affected by the coronavirus. Their dates being canceled. We all know that, moving into next year. Some of them canceling altogether, not even postponing. Some kind of doing like a courthouse deal, or getting the marriage license, then going to do the celebration next year. Just personally, we've been affected, because today, April 25th, would have been my parents' 50th anniversary. Well, it is their 50th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. We had, me and my sisters have been planning a big party for them for almost the past 2 years. And unfortunately, we had to cancel. And due to my dad's health, we had to cancel altogether. My dad's not doing well at all. So, Johnny, this was all last minute. We sent him over a bunch of pictures of my family, and some video greetings from all the guests that would have been coming in, out of town and everything. And Johnny whipped up this amazing, professional, high quality montage. And my parents are coming over in a little bit to see it, and as a gift. And Johnny, I can't thank you enough from my family. Honestly, man, you did just such an amazing job with it. And I know we're friends, but I would like to take the time in front of other people just to let you know how much it means to me and my family who did that.
Well, yeah, and thank you for trusting me with such a special occasion. I liken it to, what we get to do on a regular basis, Ed, and even Courtney, when it's such an honor and a privilege, even as stressful as it is, to be brought into someone's special day, some of the most important moments of their entire lives. And that's really how I took it. It's one of these things where, especially nowadays, a 50th anniversary is incredibly rare, and for you to trust me with your family's videos and pictures, and their heartfelt sentiments, and say, hey, can you put this together for us? I mean, it's an immense responsibility, and I certainly took it that way. And then to see, your face light up and your appreciation of that makes it all worth it, which is part of the reason we love this industry, because we love making people's special days just as amazing as possible, and we want them to truly enjoy these moments that come once in a lifetime, and it's what keeps us coming back time after time.
Yeah, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. Honest to God, literally did a great
Thank you
job.
for that. Thank you.
And you say thank you for trusting Cordy. It's funny because he goes, "Thank you for trusting me with it." But me, I barely got on this video call today, so I don't know how we put that thing together. It would have been a whole bunch of duct tape. I don't even know if you could use duct tape for pictures or whatever.
One of those high school collages.
All right, now let's get in. We got a couple of juicy topics we want to discuss. First, I'm going to turn it over to our girl, Courtney Mason, with Mason and Magnolia Events. Now, Courtney has been seeing, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, about how can people get married during this mess. And no, we're not talking about possibly having, the celebration and the big party with all your friends and family, but at least just tie in the knot. So, Courtney, you did some research and you got a whole bunch of notes for us, right?
Yes, I did. Not a whole bunch, because I got shot down a lot, but I did go to the clerk of Hillsborough County, and they told me that you can make an appointment. They have, I believe, 2 locations where you can go and get your marriage license. So they still are issuing marriage licenses, but they are not doing ceremonies. There's no ETA on whenever they're going to be doing them again. So that's kind of frustrating. As for an extension or a refund, they said absolutely not. They don't extend the license that you already have, and they will not refund you, of course. And then it's not legal to issue them remotely or over the internet or by mail, so they won't do that either. So you have to make an appointment. You have to go down to get it if that's something you still want to do. So I went from there and I asked, well, who can marry me? Well, an officiant or a notary can marry you. I asked how many people can be present, how many witnesses do I need? They said basically it's up to you. and whatever law is happening right now. And right now it's a maximum of 10 people around each other until they say otherwise, I believe. And that's about all I got out of them through a phone call and off their website. And that was Hillsborough County. I can provide the links in this whenever it's over.
Yeah, no, we'll put the links when we post this. We'll put the links in the story, and that's actually some really, really some important facts, because I know I've been seeing a bunch of posts about this. So now this is something we could just refer back. You've already done all the work for them. You don't have to sit up. Courtney did all the dog work for you, so you don't have to sit up.
And there's a lot of misinformation out there running around through the groups with what people think they know. Go to the website, find out for sure. So.
And, Courtney, you read a great fact that maybe you can't have the quote unquote officiant, in the ceremony that you want right now. But we do know that with a lot of couples, they have a certain date in their mind, and that's the date that they wanted to do, whether it's special to them or their family or whatever. So it sounds like, there's still a way around that, getting at least that marriage license officially, tying the knot. And then, like we discussed on our last episode, maybe doing the party, down the line here when things are
anniversary, the year after, 5 years, whatever it may take, Just we got to be patient.
Yep. Unfortunately, we're running out of it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Now, Johnny, you actually have you're going to be live streaming somebody's I guess we call it a ceremony or their marriage. What do we want to call it here? Because are you calling it a ceremony? What are they discussing about doing this? How they're doing it?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a ceremony, and it's going to be at one of our venues here in Tampa Bay. This couple, is certainly, is anxious and excited to get married. Love waits for no one, and certainly no global pandemic, and so they've actually decided to split up their wedding into two sections, basically, or two dates, and so they're going to stick to their wedding date and have the ceremony in a venue. Again, following the CDC guidelines of no more than 10 people. And we're going to get into a little bit of the trickiness around that, because that, of course, includes family members, that includes vendors. And then they've decided to push their their reception date, over into next year, which again, I think is actually kind of a smart idea given the circumstances. And it's also going to allow them to maybe set a little bit more money aside and maybe have a better party than they might have originally planned on, given that now they have some more time to save up for it.
Sure. And it's funny too, because Courtney, I don't know if I told you this or not, but we have a couple that booked us to DJ their wedding. It's coming up at the end of May. And they basically reached out to me very recently, actually it was last week, and said, hey, Ed, we have this date in mind. We want to move our date. We want to check to make sure that our DJ with you guys is still available. It's for 2021, So I go, oh yeah. We got that date. I can definitely move your DJ, who is Fisher. I said, I can put him on your date. No worries, no problem. And they go, yeah, we're actually, it's funny. This is what she says to me on the phone. She goes, it's funny because we watched your first podcast and we saw that guy on there that does, he films the live weddings and this and that. We're actually going to go ahead and use him for our ceremony. I was like, that's Johnny. I was like, that's awesome. Look at that.
Yeah.
Up from it.
The show's already a success, and that's only episode 1. And so, they're a really sweet couple. Again, they're trying to make the best out of a bad situation. I'm happy for them that they're able to, stick to their guns and stick to their wedding date. And, the party can wait. And if anything, because we all know how stressful a wedding is, I think they're going to have more fun at this reception when it comes around than maybe any couple has ever had, because they're not going to have the stress of the ceremony right before it, like so many couples do. They're actually going to get to really throw down and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's funny too, because now that yeah, right. If you think about it, that is funny, because that's the most I think where people get the most anxious is actually right up to the ceremony. I mean, that's the big part. Once you get past the ceremony, it's all downhill from there.
Like you could finally breathe. Someone bring me a drink.
Right, exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised, because we talk about, what remnants of this coronavirus situation are we going to see permanently, or for some time. And we may see things like this where people may start separating their ceremony dates from their reception dates. And again, I think it's going to definitely change the industry. I think you're going to see people get more creative. And again, when you know that, hey, I don't have to worry about the ceremony now. All I got to do is party it up. Again, everything changes. Who you invite changes. How you dress. The vendors you use, the food. When you're able to separate those two, I think it kind of brings a whole new element to the entire celebration of your wedding.
Yeah, I've done a wedding like that, multicultural, multi-days, and that reception was just party, party, party. Everything was done. They were ready to just get down.
There's one for the ages. All right, we got to move on to our next topic here. It's something we wanted to discuss. This is a big one within the wedding community, whether you're a wedding vendor or even if you're a couple. It's been discussed. I have a personal situation with it, actually 2 times. I've only been married once, but once with me and once with my sister. And we're calling this part the family friend. So what the family friend is, you nailed it. You're getting married. You're going through who's going to be my caterer, who's going to be my DJ, who's going to bake my cake, who's going to be my photographer. Oh, I need somebody to plan my wedding. And there's always going to be that family friend or that, relative or close friend that's offering to do the services for free. And I know firsthand from being in this industry, sometimes it works out. Sometimes you can hire that person to cater your wedding and they're going to do a tremendous job. Sometimes you can hire that friend of yours to DJ the wedding and they do the job that you need them to do. On the flip side of that, I don't think there's anything that compares to a professional that knows what they're doing. And what I mean by that is you could get by with hiring a family friend for certain things, sure. But you're also kind of, I like to say, getting by. And again, I get it 100%. We all have budgets. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. We all have different budgets, whether they're large, small, medium, no budget. We all have budgets. My suggestion to you in this situation would be kind of narrow down your lane of what are the 2 or 3 most important things that are important to you on your big day. And it's funny because as a DJ company, I heard somebody say this a couple of years ago from one of the DJ forums that I'm part of nationally. And it's funny because I'm going to real quick. I just want to tell you guys, as a DJ, I always think that the DJ and the music and the dancing and the partying and this and that, that's the wedding. That's the wedding. You know what I mean? Just from the music aspect of it. And it's funny because this DJ panel brought up this whole thing about just taking a step back because obviously everything's different. Is the DJ a big part of it? Sure. DJ is a huge part of your big day. They're going to be the ones that are going to be doing, all the facilitating. They're going to be doing the announcements. They're going to be the one that's going to be on your microphone, announcing your guest, making, whatever it is, interacting. But they brought up the fact of, they said, everybody's different. You might have somebody that they are 100,000,000% about the food. The food is the most important thing to them on their big day. It might be their pictures. They might be, like, hey, we want to get pictures here and here and here. The photos might be the best thing in the world. So what I'm saying is, I think when it comes to the family friend is narrowing it down and figuring out what are the if you have a tight budget, definitely put it towards those 3 or 4 things that are the most important to you on your big day. What's your guys' 2 things?
I had family friends do a lot of my stuff at my wedding. Like I said, I started Tampa Wedding Swap because I was on a major budget. So if it didn't come with the venue already, it was likely a family friend who did it. My cakes, Amber, a good friend of mine, she made it. It was delicious. She had started a little baking company and she didn't pursue it, but she made our cake before she quit and I loved it. We did red velvet. She was also pursuing photography, which she's a photographer now. And she came in, she was like a 3rd shooter at our wedding after permission, of course. And she gave us really good quality photos as well.
Yeah, look, and I'll say this. I mean, I grew up being the family DJ. That's kind of what got me passionate and got me started into wanting to become a DJ, was because whenever we would have family parties, I would rather be the guy playing the music than the guy dancing to the music. And I love to dance. But the truth is that when I have done family parties, now that I've been doing this professionally and for so long, is that you feel like you're missing out. You feel like you're not truly a part of the event. And you also got to think about that too, because if there's two dynamics here. One is that your friend offers their service, for your wedding. And then the other one is, are you asking your friend to offer their service to the wedding? Because that friend may want to be in your wedding. They may want to be a guest, or maybe be a part of your bridal party. They may not want to work your wedding.
Right.
And I've been on both sides of that. There's been certain weddings where I was like, I'd love to DJ your wedding. And then there's others where like, no, like I want to party. I want to hang out. I want to relax, and if you're asking your friend to take on that responsibility, well, now it's kind of awkward, because now it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not invited to your wedding, but now I have to work your wedding. And then the other dynamic too is that if you are going to ask a family friend, not only following, what Ed just said about, knowing what's important to you, but also make sure that you approach their skills objectively, and maybe bring, some other people with you to make a judgment call on how good are they really of a service provider, if you're going to take them up either on their offer or even hire them to work your wedding. Because friendships, relationships often, put on rose-colored glasses. And I think sometimes you may say, oh man, yeah, that one time I went over, Becky's house and she made me this awesome cake. Well, that's a homemade cake, but is that really a wedding cake? Right. And is that going to be up to your standards and your expectations for what you want for your wedding? And so there's that other dynamic you also want to keep in mind too, because the last thing you want to do is tarnish or even lose a friendship over unmet expectations if you bring someone in as a service provider who's also a friend or a relative to your wedding.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, you have to remember, and this is why, I mean, honestly, I say err on the side of using professionals, just because at the end of the day, you both hit it on the head. There's a lot of good things that could come out of using that family friend, saving money and this and that, but at the end of the day, they are a family friend, and if they're there to enjoy your day as well, excuse me, their focus is not necessarily going to be solely on their duty for that day. So I've had it happen to my own wedding. I'd rather not put the friend out there, but we did use a friend to kind of cut back on our budget. And honestly, to this day, me and my wife have been married now for 17 years, just a few weeks ago. And to this day, it's probably like my biggest regret of my wedding, to be honest with you. Did they do a horrible job? No, they didn't do a horrible job. Did they ruin my wedding? No, my wedding was great. Is it something I wish I could go back because I know that it wasn't done the way it probably could have been done? Sure. I saw the same thing happen at my sister's wedding. My sister used a family friend as well for one of her services. I've personally, excuse me. Oh my God, I need water here in a second. I've personally been DJing a wedding where I have seen a family friend being used as a photographer. Gone. Like, we're trying to do all these different kinds of things at the wedding. We're trying to do a bouquet toss. We're trying to do a cake cutting. We can't find the photographer. Can't find the photographer anywhere at the wedding. Meanwhile, come to find out, it's like 10 minutes later, now I have bridesmaids helping me find and stuff like that. It was at a hotel. The photographer's down at the hotel bar having drinks. So, again, I've heard about, the classic, this is my favorite when it comes to DJs. We have a friend that's going to DJ our wedding. He's a club DJ. You might have seen this before. A club DJ is not a wedding DJ. A club DJ, he might be the best club DJ in the world. When it comes to a wedding, there's so many other elements and details and things that are involved. Don't get me wrong. Could that club DJ rock the actual party? Sure, of course. You know what I mean? He must know what he's doing. He's in the club, right? He gets the party going. But when it comes to handling the whole entire day from beginning to end, that's where you're kind of, you're taking a gamble, I would like to say. And from all the posts and everything, just not even in Tampa Wedding Swap, just across the country, I'm going to go ahead and put, this is my own personal percentage on this. I think there's like a 70-30 where professionals against non-professionals work out. So I think it's one of those things where if you're feeling trusting enough to take a chance, you know what I mean, then by so means do it. But at the same time, I do think that you kind of got to narrow down what your most important functions are that day, and that's what you got to put your budget towards if you do have a tight budget.
Well, and really quickly, because I do want Courtney to speak up on this, but again, going back to expectations, if your friend is providing that service at no charge or maybe at a very low cost, to help you with your budget, keep that in mind too. Because again, that should be parallel with your expectations. You get what you pay for. And I've said that so many times, and it applies to every industry I've ever worked in. You get what you pay for. And so back to what Ed said to open up the conversation, make sure that if it's important to you, that you're spending the money on it. If it's something that, is just like a nice add-on or something that's really not that important to you, then hey, go ahead and toss it over to that family friend. Courtney, what do you think?
Absolutely. I completely agree. If it's important to you, spend the money. If not, then let your friend do it, unless your friend really wants to be a part of your wedding. That's the only downside I see, is losing that friend in my wedding and having them work it, So.
And that's why we were joking around, because we're like, we definitely have to be on both sides of the fence here. We know how it is. We'll be like, oh, wedding friends at weddings don't work out. No, I have to tell you this one time. You know what I mean? So.
Well, we are those friends, right? We have plenty of friends who are getting married, and I also don't take it personally. If they don't hire me to do their wedding, be it DJing or something else, I don't take it personal. I mean, again, it's their wedding and it's their choice, and you can't take it personal because you don't know the reasons why. And that obviously goes out to the vendors. If your friends don't pick you as the vendor for whatever service you provide, don't take it personal. Again, I'm sure there's reasons why, they've gone with the vendor they've chosen.
Yeah, I like being invited better than being asked to work. So.
Yeah, I want to drink. I don't want to be.
I want to drink and dance, y'all. Come on.
All right, well, we're going to get ready to wrap up here. Before we do, though, we have our ever-burning question I would like to wrap up our podcast with. So last week, I asked you guys, if you remember, I said, what is your go-to quarantine snack? So we're going to stick with the quarantine theme here, since we're still all quarantine. And I'm going to ask you, Johnny, I'm going to start with you this time, because last time I started with Courtney. So I'll start with you this time, Johnny. Johnny,
yeah.
What is your go-to quarantine? Is it a TV show, movie, book? What is getting you through this quarantine, that one thing you've relied on?
Well, I think the one thing that none of us can dismiss has been the power of the Tiger King. To all my cool cats and kittens out there. I mean, it's been a global phenomenon, and I wish there were more of it to watch. I mean, I've even watched the follow-up episode where they interviewed everybody. I truly like the Netflix original, Disney Plus original, Prime original content. I like to kind of stray away from stuff that you can find on television. And I try to look for stuff that isn't normally available. But I have found myself even going back to movies that I haven't seen in ages, And so, for instance, I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan, and I went back and I watched Van Wilder, which was from, late 90s, early 2000s. And doesn't quite hold up as well as it used to, but still a pretty funny movie.
Courtney, real quick before we go to you, I have to tell you something funny. You'll get a kick out of this. You're friends with Johnny on Facebook, but I don't know if you saw this post. Johnny, I don't know who started it or who did it, but it was brilliant. It was called 6 Degrees of Carol Baskin. So it was basically a post, and you had to click on the friends to see who you're friends with.
Yeah. I stole that idea I saw a friend of mine do it, and then I kind of reposted it as well. And I think I had about 15, somewhere between 15 to 20 friends that know her.
Wow.
It's a little too close for comfort.
You have to go on a game.
I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah. Let's just say I'll be sure to leave my sardine oil the next time I go over to the Big Cat Rescue. What's crazy is I actually volunteered there back in 2012, cleaning a lot of the brush and a lot of the grass and stuff like that back then, but did not get to see the legend of Carol Baskin.
Oh. Yeah, I've been binge watching that as well.
What about you, Courtney? Is that what's been your go-to through this quarantine? Has it been Tiger King or something else?
The Tiger King and its memes have been keeping me thoroughly entertained, I must say. I'm with you, Johnny. I do the Netflix originals, Amazon. We have Hulu originals. Stephen King's got some really good originals on Netflix that I've been watching. I'm a big horror movie buff. That, documentaries, disappeared, crime documentaries, and 5-Minute Crafts on YouTube.
I'll throw you a little bit of a curveball. Actually, a show that I binged, I mean, as fast as I could, is actually a new show on Amazon Prime called Making the Cut, and it's with Tim Gunn, which is he's amazing. I don't know, I just love Tim Gunn, and Heidi Klum. So from Project Runway, they've reunited on this new show called Making the Cut, where they take fashion designers, and instead of it being like based in New York every week, they actually, every 2 episodes, they go to a new country, and the fashion that they designed has to be consistent with that country's cultures. It's a phenomenal show. The panel of judges also consists of Naomi Campbell, Nicole Richie. It's a really, really well done show. The production's amazing. The content's fantastic. I mean, I watched it, I think, in maybe 2 days.
Wow. I'll have to check that one out. Got nothing
Yeah.
else, so.
My husband did make me watch
stuff.
a crazy one. What was it? The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. He made me watch that. And he's like, you must see that. It was very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, after Ed's haircut, I wondered if you might end up in one of those documentaries.
Oh yeah, this is way different. By the way, I lost, Cordy, just so you know what happened is I lost a bet on another podcast that I'm on. I lost a bet. And what it was my son had to cut my hair. We allowed my son to cut my hair on the podcast, and he was taking the razor and he was going like here, and it was over, like he was making all designs and zigzags and everything like that. So I was like, I said to my wife, I said, just take it all off. Just make it all go away.
My husband shaved his mustache. He has had one, I guess, since he was a teen. So.
Oh boy, that's a big one.
Interesting.
Wow. And what, do you approve, not approve?
I did not approve. It grew back very quickly.
Awesome. Well, it's been a good time as always with you guys. And I know last time I was getting ready to wrap up and Johnny had something to interject with. So Johnny, did I miss anything today, or Courtney, is anything you guys would like to wrap up with before we?
No, I think we touched on everything we meant to today. Just gonna stay tuned for the next one.
Exactly. And I'd say everybody, again, continue to be patient. If you're, one of the brides, that are planning their special day or any special event you may be planning. And if you're a vendor, also please be patient with your clients and be flexible with your clients if you can.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's going to be pretty chaotic as we start to approach, a reopening of the state, a reopening of the country. And it's not going to be all at once, hopefully, but it's certainly, I think, going to be sooner than people expect, at least here in Florida. And so, just start to prepare yourselves for that. And again, we're all in this together. So just be patient and be kind.
Yeah, we'll get those links up that Courtney found as well too about the getting married and all that stuff. So we'll get all that situated for you on this page. Again, if you need any kind of event services whatsoever, planning, you can reach out to Courtney Mason with Mason and Magnolia Events. If you need to get your ceremony shot or any kind of production whatsoever, you can reach out to Johnny with liveweddings.net. And of course, if you need DJ services, photo booth, lighting, you name it, we do it all. You can reach out to me through Events Done Right. Again, we want to thank you on behalf of the three of us. Thank you so much for checking us out on our second episode of the Wedding Swap podcast. And we'll do another one here in a couple of weeks. And hopefully, maybe we'll be looking at light at the end of this tunnel. All right, guys?
Yes. Can't wait. Thank you so much.
All right.
See ya.
It's Long Island Iced Tea 30. That's what it is right now. So I'll see y'all later.
30.